Welcome all to the SFF webinar on navigating our online grants portal. We have heard from many of our grantee partners that they have challenges navigating our online grants portal, and we've heard you loud and clear. We want to be responsive, we empathize, and so we're here to offer you backup and a kind of informal training and hopefully a robust exchange about what you're encountering and any questions you want to have answered. I am Rakiba Labrie. I'm the Vice President of Programs here at the San Francisco Foundation, and I'm joined by Maria Healy, who is the Senior Administrative Manager for the Programs team here at San Francisco Foundation, and Maria knows all things Fluxx, which is the name of our online grants portal. And so with that, I will just declare an intention that this is going to be the best webinar ever. And with that, I will turn it over to Maria.
Thank you, Rakiba.
Give it up for Maria.
Thank you.
Oh, and I want to just note that you can put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I will be tracking the chat. And we're going to leave about 5 minutes at the end of the webinar and send a survey for you to just give us some feedback on how your experience was with the webinar so that we can continually improve. So good morning to all of you who've recently joined, and I will turn it over to my colleague, Maria Healy.
Thank you, Rakiba. I actually think we've got a question already. I think someone raised their hand.
Someone raised their hand, and
you want to come off mute?
That's interesting. I don't.
Is it Rosa? Maybe it was unintentional. We'll come off mute or raise your hand, interrupt at any time. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining us. My name is Maria Healy. As Rakiba mentioned, I'm Senior Administrative Manager in the Programs Department at the San Francisco Foundation. I work closely with the staff grant makers in the Programs Community Impact Department, and I work closely with our grants admin team, who also are very engaged in our grant making database known as Fluxx. I also track programs at sff.org general inquiry email inbox, where we receive lots of questions about either the content in a grant application or any issues with Fluxx. So I'm in the system a lot, and I'm aware of the pain points and some of the more common questions. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. So today's agenda, we're gonna it's a kind of a high level. We're gonna go over account creation and setting up a password. We'll take questions there, and then I'm gonna log in, and we're gonna do a live demo in Fluxx and go through the navigation panel, all the forms there, and what the functionality is, how you can find what you need. We're going to save a little bit of time, maybe 15 minutes, to go over a key form for us, the organizational profile, which, excuse me, which contains great key information about applicant grantee organizations, and we want to take our time with that. So let's dive in. The first thing we suggest for applicants, grantees who are wanting to access the portal is to go there via our website. Use Chrome. That Fluxx seems to work best in that browser, and go to the portal via our website, sff.org, and you go to grantee login. And then here's our landing page. I'm going to move this over here. And there's a lot of information here. We want to spend a little time here. The first thing to get acquainted with, to understand if you are wanting to apply for a grant, or if you're being invited to work with a staff grant maker to co-create a grant, is to create an account in the portal, or just confirm that your organization has one. You can, in advance of coming to the portal, you can send an email to programs@sff.org and ask, hey, could you please take a look in your database and check for my organization? Or you can simply come here, scroll down, I'm going to minimize this a little bit, and you come to create an account now. You click on that, and you'll get this brief form. And again, if you're unsure as to whether or not your organization has an account, don't be, concerned that you're going to create a duplicate by completing this form. Our grants admin team reviews this in part to confirm that duplicate organizational accounts are not being created. So it's a very brief form. You scroll through, the first thing that pops up is this dialog box about whether you know your EIN number. That's your organization's employer identification number. That's a key data point for the IRS that tracks to the charitable status of your organization, whether you're a C3, a C4, a faith-based organization, a university, a government agency. So you don't have to know that to pop it in there, but if you do know it, it will complete the form, the organizational information for you. One note, if you're a fiscally sponsored organization or a fiscally sponsored project, put in your information, meaning you wouldn't have an EIN necessarily. Don't put in your fiscal sponsors information. We create organization accounts for both the sponsored project, sponsored organization, and the fiscal sponsor. So that's what the EIN is. You come in, enter the organization name. I'm going to do a kind of a dummy one here. This is a dummy account that we work with. It's really basic, just to get the key information. In this organizational email, you're welcome to enter a generic and info at. For person accounts, I'm going to encourage you to, oops, so we'll pop it there. I don't know our facts off the top of my head. All right. And then again, a tax ID. If you do not, yes. And it's a reminder again. Okay, so there's your organization information. And again, our grants admin team will confirm if we've already got. The EIN is key there with confirming no duplicates. If you put in an acronym or a shortened, a truncated version of your org name, our grants admin team takes the time to confirm that. This is where, even if your organization has an account, but you as an individual grant contact don't yet have an account, you do the same thing. You put in the organization information because we're going to link you to that organization account. And then you want to put in your specific information. And this is where we do ask for a unique email to you. Because if you are the primary grant contact or the authorized signatory on a grant where we need an agreement returned, that email is where that system generated notification is going to go. So this is key. Again, even if your organization does have an account, but you don't, we need you to take these steps so that we've got an individual account for you in this system. This make me the primary user. If you select yes here, that's going to put your contact information on the organizational profile form as the main contact for the organization. So if that should be you, great. Please check it. If that role is for somebody else, you can check no. I think you actually can leave it blank. But don't worry too much about that. If you select that and that is incorrect, excuse me, we can we can fix that. You know, anybody who's got an account can go in and update the organizational profile form. I'm not sure why they are not, I cannot enter a phone number there. I'll try that. No, strange.
And Maria, we have two questions.
Oh, good. Well, I'm trying to get my phone number in. Let's take them.
So Trey asks, if we need to work on our org's grants, we don't need to contact you to create an account, rather we should just go through this process?
Yes, we can't create an account for you. We absolutely, please go through the process. And if you need any help, you can shoot an email to programs@sff.org. But you
And
want
this is
to
a
start with Chrome. You know, I should have said this earlier. You start with Chrome, and why I demoed getting to the portal via our website is because Fluxx it's not the San Francisco Foundation's proprietary grants database. It's an out-of-the-box grants database that lots of foundations and grant makers use. So we have heard from some people, well, I typed in Fluxx, I went to that website and I didn't see how to log in. So you want to go to our version, the San Francisco Foundation's version of Fluxx. So that's why the most direct route there is to go through our website. And you can see the URL once you get there is sff.fluxx.io. But yes,
Okay.
thank you for the question. We
And
actually
another
can't
question.
create accounts. Please do it yourself. Yes.
Yes, okay, so and then Julia or Julia asked, and this is a question that has been asked before, is there space for multiple people or at least two on the account?
You can have as many contacts as staff would like, but they've each got to create their own account. You put in the identical organization information, and this primary account information is what is unique to each staff member. So, and for grant applications, we can only have one primary contact. We know that's a bit of a pain point. So you can have multiple people connect with accounts connected to the organization, but they each need to have unique accounts. We ask that they have unique emails, and then you've got to just one person is the grant contact.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so you come through this brief form, you complete it, and you hit submit request. Now, this is something that we do want to flag. We do give our grants admin team 48 hours to confirm that organization information. Again, it's about duplicates, it's linking the person's account to that organization. Sometimes if you are if you've moved organizations, or say you're a grant writer for multiple organizations, you may have accounts with multiple grantee organizations. So, or you may need to get an outdated account archived. So we ask for 2 business days to take a look at that. And what we do know, after 48 hours or within 48 hours, you should receive a notification confirming your registration, which is what you just did with that form. We know this is a big pain point. That system-generated email comes from a really unintuitive sender address. I think it's do-not-reply@fluxx.io. And we apologize for that. We're trying to get that changed. It's an out-of-the-box feature with Fluxx that we have not yet been able to change. So most likely it will get spammed. If after a couple of days you do not receive it, you don't see it in your junk email, send an email to programs@sff.org, and someone like me can log into Fluxx and confirm that your registration is complete. Because of this pain point here, we ask that as soon as you start talking to a San Francisco Foundation grant maker, or as soon as even if you're thinking about applying for a grant, you may do it, you may not, go ahead and create an account so that we get the account creation and we get you a good password set up so that if you do hit a time-sensitive scenario, you're not waiting for this. All right, I'm going to back to the login screen. So that is account creation. And again, I can't tell you, please do it early so that we can troubleshoot and get you in there. And there are assistance emails right here, grantsmanagement@sff.org or programs@sff.org. Okay, now the next piece, once you've gotten your account and the registration is set up, this is another sadly unintuitive feature on Fluxx. The way to create a password is actually to click on forgot password, which implies that you already have one, you've forgotten it, and you want to recreate it. We've asked if we could, change this language to create password, and we can't. But this is, once you get your account registered, you come here. And here's where you enter that unique email. So not the info at, but your email as the contact. You put that there, you hit submit, and this is where you will receive an automatic email with password creation instructions to the email that you submitted. All right, any questions on account creation or password creation? Again, we have found that there are a number of pain points here. So Chrome, go to our website to make sure you're at the Fluxx version, the Foundations version of Fluxx. If you're not sure if you've got an account or you need a new one, create the account now. Within 2 business days, if you haven't heard about the confirmation, reach out, and then you go to forgot password to create a password. All right, are we good? Okay, so we're gonna dive in. If any of you have passwords in Fluxx and want to follow along, please do. But I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna choose grantee to show you what grantee and applicants see, and we're gonna go right into Fluxx. All right, I need to move this over here. Okay, so here we are. This is what visitors to Fluxx see, the grants portal. This first page is purely information about the tabs, the pages in this left-hand navigation panel. So it just gives a little brief information, explanation about these different pages, forms, and the functionality. That's what's on this. That's what's on this page here. All right. Okay, so this is your key tool, this left-hand navigation pane here. I'm going to pop it out a little bit. Once you log in, the organization or organizations that you are connected to will appear here. I'm just going to select Andres. And correspondingly, if you have a draft application going, if a grant maker has sent you an invited application to complete, or if you have a check-in or a report due, toggling to the organization that you're representing, that you work, where you work, or on behalf of whom you have submitted these forms, they will populate in these tabs. So we're going to go through these tabs. We're going to save organizational profile till the end, so we have a little bit more time. How to use the grants portal? Again, it's just information. Apply now. This is a page where if the foundation has open programs, you come here. The Faiths Community Grants Program, that opens annually, late summer, early fall. And the Rapid Response Fund for Movement Building is an open rolling program. So if you're interested, I'm not gonna get into the criteria and the goals and strategies of those programs. There's information about them on our website, but they are open to organizations eligible to apply and who are working in the areas aligned with their strategies and criteria. And you can come in here and there are green buttons whereby you can start an application. So that's the how to apply, or apply now rather. And right now, Rapid Response Fund for Movement Building is accepting applications. Again, we're going to hold off on organizational profile. People, this is where those person accounts, as many as staff want to have an account, need accounts, you can see these here. And if you are a current staff member, you create an account and you come here and toggle through and you notice that there's some outdated information here, some staff who have left your organization, we'd appreciate it if you got a hold of our grants management team and maybe did some archiving of those accounts, or just, you know, clean those up so that what we've got is current. Draft applications to complete. This is where, if you do start a application for one of those, again, this is a dummy application, so these are sort of test records. But if you do start an application with the Rapid Response Fund for Movement Building, with the Faith's Community Partner Support Grants, if you start it and need to save and, you know, complete it over a number of days, you can do that. Save, log out, log back in, and this is where you find that. Invited applications to complete. If you are working with a community impact grant maker annually throughout with either what we call the fall batch, which is a lot of work in September and October, or the spring batch, which is what we're just sort of tripping into now. Part of that workflow is that the app lead, the grant maker you are working with, will initiate the form internally and enter maybe the key specs, the key, you know, aspects of the grant, who you are, what amount you two are talking about, the duration, maybe some brief information about what the grant could be in support of. And then there's a part of the workflow where they can literally send it to you. And this is where you access that. You come here to invited applications to complete. There's the edit button. On any of these forms, there's a print button, which might be useful because you could PDF it, copy it into a Word document, and then if multiple staff members are working on it, or if some staff members have information that others don't, that you could use that print functionality to share it internally, and then you know, come back with all of your information, click edit, and go ahead and complete the form. So that's invited applications to complete. Full applications to complete. This is not, we're not using this functionality right now. In previous years, we had a sort of a two-part grant program. Kind of like a part one was sort of a letter of intent. You would complete brief form and then be invited to complete a full application. So, but this is not, we are not using this right now. Revisions required. This is where you would come if you are in a back and forth with the grant maker who you're working with. So they initiate it internally, they send it to you where you find it in invited applications to complete. You complete it, you submit it, it goes back to them, to the app lead, the grant maker, and they have some more questions. That's where you would find it there. I know that can maybe get a little bit, you know, there's 4 tabs here. So if you have any question about, you know, I just did this with the grant maker I'm working with, where can I find the form now? Please reach out and we can guide you to where it is. But again, if you are working with a grant maker in an invited application, it will start here. Okay, submitted. These are applications that you have submitted. You can kind of check the status. We don't get too deep into status. We've under review. There are sub-statuses within that in terms of what the application lead is doing, perhaps the budget manager. We've got an internal workflow that we go through, and under review kind of captures all that. Any that have been declined will be here. All right, so those are applications, meaning not yet grants. Grants are here. And I'm actually, they are loading, it's taking its time here. I'm gonna try and find, what I like about this grants section is that, and apologies for the loading icon. If you come here, this is where you can see the active grant, obviously, but you can capture and download the grant agreement if you need to take another look at that, or if you have, lost it, misplaced it. So I like that about the active grants. Grant reports and check-ins. A little over a year ago, I think a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, we updated our reporting requirements, process, and forms, largely from, we still have some grants that require final reports. If you are a C4 and there is what's known as expenditure responsibility, which is an extended form of due diligence required of that grant, we still have reports that we need to collect, but largely we switched up our final and progress reports to annual check-ins. And the majority of those are being done conversationally. So if you have any written report that is due, or there are written check-ins, they're not as many as conversational, but they exist as well. They will be in here. Due in the future. I think as far back, or maybe like 3 months in advance, we start posting the forms there. Anything that's overdue is here. If you have submitted a written report or check-in, that will show here. Awaiting grantee review, it's part of the conversational check-in workflow that you and the app lead have a conversation based on the grant activities, challenges, surprises, opportunities, and the app lead documents or represents that conversation in the form and then sends it to you for review and approval. And you don't have to access it, but if you want to review that and confirm that it's authentic for you, representative for you, of that conversation, it will be here, pardon me, for up to a month. After that, in order to not get too much of a backlog of unapproved grantee check-ins, we do take the liberty of approving it on your behalf. We assume if it's there for 30 days and you have not needed to look at it, or you feel like you're good with what may be there, we take that as passive approval. So we go in, we move those along in the workflow. And then approved, they would show here. All right, that is a lot of information. Any questions? Payments are fairly straightforward. Multi-years are typically the grants where we have installment payments, payments that are scheduled over the course of the multi-years rather than paid out in full at time of approval. All right, well, we were moving right along. Are there any questions
right now?
All right. Okay, well, we did want to spend some time looking at what we call our organizational profile. Just going to check my notes and make sure that I think we got everything there. This is a key form for us at the San Francisco Foundation. We ask organizations to complete it. It is a robust form. You'll see, we'll go through it. It's what we hope, our thinking behind it is that it holds static information about your organization, what you do, where you are, how you're staffed, your leadership, your board, core work, who you are serving and impacting. We do ask for invitational grantees, especially faiths grantees. I believe the Rapid Response Fund for Movement Building, it is required to be complete when you submit your application. So while we are aware and we appreciate that it is in essence another form to complete, we just ask that it be done once and then updated annually. You find it through organizational profile. It's a key form for our grant makers, for our board of trustees, and for our strategic learning and evaluation team, as well as some of our colleagues in philanthropy and gift planning. If they've got a donor coming to them asking about wanting to support certain types of work, we can run a catch or a report on what community impact grantees are doing that type of work. And those, those donor services staff can take a look at your org profile and maybe see some alignment with a donor's interest. So for all those reasons, we ask that these be completed and updated. Again, same deal as with the grant forms. The edit button's up here. Print button is here, because there is a spectrum of information that we ask for, some of which your HR team, staff, colleagues may be more suited to answer. We've got a little explanatory information here, why we ask the questions we ask, and then some technical tips. I should have said this earlier, and I'll start saying it. Anytime you're in Fluxx, hit save, hit edit, hit save. It does not auto save. Once you're done with any form, you'll hit save and close, and then you get a submit button. But as you're entering data, as you're working in the forms, please hit save. All right. So that is introductory information. Then you get to a table of contents. These are hyperlinks. And I want to point something out. This first section around the contact information, this is exactly what we entered when we create an account. This is that when you are creating an account, you're essentially completing the first section of our organizational profile form. And once you've created an account, you can come in at any time, even before you've been invited to complete an application, even before you want to start an application for the Rapid Response Fund, and just complete your organizational profile so that's done.
Excuse me, Maria.
Yeah.
Johanna has a question. I see several active grants from past years. Should we email to have those moved to closed?
Are you in the portal linked to your organization and you're seeing that? That could be, yeah, email programs@sff.org. I track that email.
Rosa says the same with her organization.
Yeah, you know what that might be are that we've got that there may be some long overdue, outstanding, and no shade, don't worry about that, reports that were either not submitted or, what might be happening, they were submitted and it's on us that we have not done the internal work to move those to closed.
Okay, so email programs@SFF, all lowercase?
Yes, .org.
.org. And Rosa says we did submit a final report, and Maya says there are a number of pandemic-related grants that should be closed.
Okay, thank you. And I think you are right, and that most likely is on us for not capturing those reports and moving them through the workflow. And that did happen. It happened for a number of reasons as we changed up our reporting process, as we all got through the pandemic, as staff left. But thank you. Yes, we will. I appreciate that. That's a cleanup we know we need to do. Thank you for submitting them, and we'll take care of that. Cool. And I'm glad you're in the portal and moving around. That's great.
And Maya says that they are grateful that SFF changed its reporting process and it's more grantee friendly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
That's, well, yeah, and a big thanks to Rakiba leading the charge on that work and our strategic learning and evaluation team. We're glad you appreciate that. That's one of the main goals, that work happened and is ongoing. Welcome the feedback too. Keep it coming if that form and process could be even better. All right. So back to the organizational profile form. Again, this initial section is what you complete when you create an account. Consent to share. This is something we like to ask. You know, we get visuals from grantee organizations. We like to share on our website and with other funders information about grantee partners and the grants that have been co-created and made by our community impact team. So we'd appreciate it. Obviously, you can say no, but if that is okay with you, please let us know. Core work. What type of organization are you? We love to hear about engagement in policy and advocacy. That's a big one on the check-in forms as well. We love to hear about direct services, as do donors to the foundation. Are you engaging in community organizing? I'm gonna pop this out a little bit. And we give a definition, at least of how we think about that. Organization mission, this is helpful for a number of reasons. You're welcome to copy and paste from your website. And then we get into, you know, some of the data that we're well aware you may not collect all this the way we are asking for it. These are pretty broad general questions, but we do get into asking for estimates and numbers. Do you serve people, organizations? We try and get total number of people. Estimates are just fine. Then we get into the race and ethnicity of the people you serve or impact, and we've got definitions here. We welcome feedback. If you see anything that is inauthentic, misrepresentative, we're always trying to learn here and you know, change these to be as authentic as we can with grantee partners and the constituents, the residents, the community they are in. And then we get into asking for, you don't have to enter the percentage symbol, you can just input the numbers. We know that you may not be collecting this information the way the form is asking for it. Estimates are great. Please just give it your best try. You can try a census data, Bay Area Equity Atlas, which you can link to via our website. Estimates are fine. And we do ask that this section total 100. You enter the numbers, you click save, which is down here. Same with age range. Populations, we're curious about these categories, for lack of a better word, these groups of people for a number of reasons. Donors to the foundation have left in their wills and estates funds, sometimes in some of them outright naming these populations of communities that their grant dollars they would like to go in support of. So that's one of the reasons why we ask this. These are intersectional. You know, obviously more than one can apply to any number of us. So these, of course, do not have to, and you know, add up to 100. Okay, geography impacted. This is important to us. The functionality here is this little green button over here. You click on that, and then you can choose, you can stay at the county level. You can also get into cities. You can also get into neighborhoods. Sorry, let me see here. This gets a little wonky. I'm gonna pop it. And then you add them, and then it asks you to do a percentage, either manually or evenly distribute. Organizational staffing. We ask the same questions about people served and impacted as we do staffing. We're curious for a number of reasons how you are staffed up how you are led, who's on your board, how representative your organization may be to the community you're in. If you do not have an executive director, we've tried to make room for that. But we asked specifically about the executive director, gender, the year that person was appointed. If you've got a LinkedIn profile, we love to see it. If there's co-directors, there's functionality there. And then we get into the race and ethnicity of that person, those people. We ask about board, executive leadership. If your organization does not have one, there's functionality there. But we were very curious, and interested, and also just sort of communicating that, it's a value to see the staffing, the leadership, even the volunteers of an organization representing the place, the people, the community they're serving. Staff in non-leadership positions. So again, it's a lot of information. Just once, and then updated annually. And then numbers of full-time staff, numbers of non-exempt, volunteers, part-time. And then the last bit we ask for are basic questions about we term it financial health. And we're just trying to get an idea of the grant size of your organization, the range, and your fiscal year start date. Organization documents, you can upload anything you'd like here via these. If you want us to see, collateral that you have shared at fundraising, your annual report, anything at all, you can upload it and just store it here. If you click on this upload document, you can retrieve it from your system and save it. If you entered a tax ID up in that original section, our system Fluxx syncs with GuideStar, which is now known as Candid. It's the big IRS database for public charities, nonprofits, and that it will automatically upload some financial statements, anything that you've got uploaded or that is produced in GuideStar or Candid will upload as well, but you can also add anything. All right, and then if you're done, you hit save and close. It will let you know if it's not complete. If it is, you hit submit. All right, and that's the organizational profile form, and that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions about any of it?
Well, Jacinda just says that she just updated her old contact info from 15 years ago.
Right,
But
excellent.
thank you for that. We have a long memory. Any other questions?
Well, we have to, and to bring, we need you to help us understand that, when things get outdated, we don't necessarily know. So we appreciate you doing that. Is there anything else?
So in between grant cycles, should people be checking in Fluxx as staff changes or just to update their
Or you
contact
could,
info?
that would help us. Again, I mean, sometimes we get emails from outgoing EDs, outgoing CEOs, and even with that, we can archive that person's account, but we don't yet know, who the new ED is, new CEO is, and we can't create an account for them. So if it occurs to you, it would really help, it would really help us out. And
Okay.
if you forget any of this, that programs@sff.org is your friend. That's a general inquiry email inbox. You can send any question, concern, issue there. I check that on a daily basis. And if I can't answer it, a colleague can.
Thank you, Maria. So Maya asked, did you send a reminder about this training, or do you send a reminder about this training every year? Do we need to attend every year? So this is a new thing, Maya. We're trying to be responsive. We do a grantee survey every year, and we've gotten consistent feedback that people can use support navigating Fluxx. And so we just started in the fall. I guess, have there been other trainings in the past, Maria?
You know, there probably have been. When we rolled out Fluxx, we may have done a kind of introductory webinar. And I'm sure when we have hosted Open Cycle, open calls, we certainly have done a webinar around that grant program. But no, I think this is relatively new. Again, thanks to Rakiba, who came up with the idea of doing this.
Yay.
And we try and sync it up with when community impact grant makers may be talking to grant partners about invited applications. So that's why we're doing it now, because that work is going to begin in earnest in March. And we did them last September. They are not mandatory. They are not
But
mandatory.
we will aim to do them before
Yeah.
the fall and spring
Right.
grant cycles. But Maya asked, do we need to attend it every year? Only if you feel like you need a refresher.
Right.
One question would be, is there a more advanced level that we could offer after these basics?
I think I mean, yes, but we would need to know what you're trying to do. Because, and if you needed, because our hope is that we're covering the basic functionality. So what is it that you're trying to do on a deeper level? I would imagine it's something in the forms themselves. So the short answer is yes, and we would just need to hear from you what you would want to walk through.